Hello, and welcome back, or perhaps for the first time, to Black Jade Island. For those of you who don't know, Black Jade is my hard mode island. Hard mode is a special set of rules created by Nintendox to make the game just a little bit more challenging. But the hard mode rules aren't the only thing that's going to be making my life just a little bit more difficult this week. It is my sad duty to report that the time of the egg is upon us once more. Isabel also announced that Jacob moved in, and somehow I had completely forgotten about him between him visiting my campsite and actually moving in, so I was very surprised. I checked my mail and despite everything, still managed to hit an A rank for the week, which was pretty fun. I watered my crops. While I was hunting for fossils, I dug up 100, probably closer to 6, but it felt like 100 eggs. And then I ran into the culprit, this wretched rabbit who has come to inflict his curse upon my poor island. Oh, how I loathe Zipper T. Bunny. I ran into Daisy May and she was selling her turnips for 107 this week. I decided to take the gamble and bought 5. Hopefully I actually managed to turn a profit this week. The notice board let me know about a fishing tournament on Saturday. I'm very excited. I might be able to pay off my home loan if I really buckle down on Saturday. Since I had a new person moving in, I went over to judge their decorating choices. Welcome them to the island. And Jacob, well, that certainly is a choice. Norma invited me over to her house again, and once more I couldn't convince her to sell me the cutting board. So I left. Since it's Sunday, it's time for me to make a new shirt. I decided to make an Egg Day themed shirt for this week and did my best to replicate a water egg. It didn't turn out perfect, but I think I can live with this for a week. Ring tosses were the hot item, so I made a bunch of them to sell for about $4. While I was in Nook's Cranny, I made my purchases. They're selling Egg Day themed furniture. I am contractually bound to buy as many of them as I can, no matter how little I actually want it. But the Able sisters were selling a cowboy hat, which I was pretty excited to buy, and then shove it straight into my storage and forget about it. Whoops. I checked my fossils and got some coffee. While I was there, Blathers stopped by to get some coffee of his own, which was fun. I like it when the NPCs show up to buy some coffee from Brewster. He deserves the business. He's a good dude who provides a valuable service to our community, and I will tolerate no Brewster slander on this channel. Thank you. Somehow, despite completely not deserving to, I managed to catch these wasps before they stung me. I don't know how it happened. I should have gotten stung, but whatever, I'll take it. I'll just hold on to this until Flick comes around. I don't know how much wasps actually sell for, and I refuse to look it up. But in my heart, they are worth $2,500. I finally got around to fixing the trees along the edge here, finished off my 2 times miles tasks, and finished the day off by getting my fortune told. I'm sure by now it goes without saying, but I started my day by watering my crops. While I was standing still, I made a very fun discovery. Red's shop will appear on my map. I already knew he was on the island because Isabel mentioned fake art during the morning announcements, but this is also a fun way to discover it. Anyways, I was too poor to buy any of his paintings, so I left. While I was wandering around doing my chores, Sparrow ran up to me. He started sneezing on me, like, a lot. Gross, dude. Wooden chests were the hot item, so I made a bunch to sell for a decent amount, which allowed me to make some purchases and have enough left over to buy a painting, once I got around to it. Instead of heading straight over to Red, I went collecting wood/wood eggs, and Wendy decided to park it on top of this stack of wood that I wanted, so I had to wait for her and Sparrow to finish their improv practice before I could pick it up. Once I got bored of gathering crafting materials, I meandered back to Red's boat. The last time I was here, I was looking at the girl with the pearl earring painting, and that seemed real. But then I checked out this lady with an ermine painting, and that was real also, so I bought that one. And also this funny owl clock. I checked my fossils, got some coffee, finished off my 2 times miles tasks, did my stretches, and finished the day off by checking my fortune. I changed things up a bit today by starting my day off with some inventory management. Riveting content, I'm sure. Changing things up had unforeseen consequences. I got desynced from my usual routine and was left adrift. Wandering around the island, Not sure where to go or what to do, I found a lost item. I assumed that it was Patty's, but because she was busy fishing, I couldn't give it to her. Kix was on my island, so I bought a bag from him, and nothing else because there was a balloon, and I was terribly distracted. I was bored of waiting for Patty to finish fishing, so I checked Wendy, and the book was actually hers. Oh no, we're good enough friends that I can investigate her items. Absolutely tragic. It's not that I dislike Wendy, I just dislike having to think harder when I find a lost item. Anyway, she gave me... she gave me... She gave me a windbreaker, and because I am a child, I think it's very funny. I finally got around to doing my crop stuff, and suddenly I was back on track, and then I had to stop to do more inventory management. I don't know if a birdwing butterfly is worth enough bells to justify putting it in bug jail, but like with the wasp, I refuse to look it up. In my heart, she is worth at least 1,000 bells, and I think Flick will agree with me. I watered the plaza, did my stretches. Kid gave me a bunny day recipe out of nowhere. I didn't know they could do that. While I was watering my lilies, my watering can broke. In the time it took for me to run from the lilies over to my crafting bench, I had forgotten what tool I was trying to replace, and I made a shovel instead. I realized my mistake when I went to dig up the diggy spot and had to return and actually make my new watering can. I found a money rock, which was fun, checked my fossils, donated a painting and the one new fossil I had managed to find, grabbed some coffee. When I was running over to the trash can to rid myself of the repeat fossils, I noticed that Patty had a thought bubble. I was worried, but she just wanted a new catchphrase. So, I taught her the most vile curse word I know. I went to do my purchases and ended up buying a lot of stuff from Nook's Cranny. I just love this little jar full of yarn, it's so cute. The poop hats were very funny, but I didn't end up buying one. Instead, I got these strappy heels that do not go with this outfit at all, so I put them in the storage. I went to make some panned cakes to finish up my 2x miles tasks, but got immediately distracted by doing some minor decorating changes. I finally got around to flipping around the DIY workbench, put a fluorescent light over it so it's a little better lit. In the spare room I did a couple changes. The green bear is a little bit in the way, but it's not supposed to be the most practical room. It's fine. I swapped out the non-functional furnace for this clay cook area thingy. It works, it's fine. Once I got out of the house, I remembered to actually check off the 2x miles task so I could get the miles, and then I went to Harp's Island to get my fortune told. I decided to gather up all the seashells that I could sell, and while I was beachcombing I found this recipe for a golden ladder kit which I didn't know existed. It seemed so wasteful. I gathered up my shells, and while I was making my way over to the Dropbox, Sparrow flagged me down to give me a vertical banner, just 'cause. Yesterday was a meandering nightmare and I didn't like it, so I started my day off the right way, by watering my crops. Sparrow was hanging out on top of the jungle gym. I didn't know villagers could do that. I watered Nook's Cranny before heading in to make my purchases, got this cute skirt from the Able Sisters. Leaf was on my island, so I bought a single yellow mum seed from him for flower breeding purposes. Rodney had a thought bubble over his head and said that he wanted to move out. I couldn't click that get off my island button fast enough. See you in hell, you ugly motherfucker. So a rule in hard mode is that you're not allowed to move a villager's house until you're able to give them gifts. I've been seriously contemplating moving the Pumpkin Keeper's house and replacing it with my own, so that I can make a cute little farm area over here. But I can't give Admiral gifts yet, so I have to hold off on that for now. But, I came up with a brilliant solution. I would gift Admiral my repeat fossils until I was good enough friends with him to give him gifts. Now I admit, it's not a perfect plan. I went to check my fossils and grab my coffee. Orville showed up and made it a bit weird. Usually they just talk about how much they like the coffee, but Orville is just like, hey, you're my favorite customer. Well, I was a customer at a different establishment. It was just very strange and I did not like it. Orville, please do not perceive me while I am caffeinating. I did my stretches. The tree I left in the middle of the path was really bugging me, or rather the perfectly square edges of the path around it was bugging me. So I scarfed down my panned cakes, got way more food power than I bargained for, dug up the tree and filling in the path and put the tree back, and then after all that I decided that I hated that even more, so I just moved the peach tree off the path. To get the effect that I want, I'm going to need to make a custom path about it, and I just don't feel like it today, so I won't. Since I had all that food power left over, I smashed this rock because I don't like having to push the imprisoned fish out of my way to get all of the rock presents. I made my way back to Admiral to give him a gift so that I can start giving him gifts, and realized why that wouldn't work, so I left the island in shame. I stopped by Katrina and got my fortune told. One of my 2 times miles tasks was to change my outfit in my wardrobe, so I ran to my spare room. I couldn't use the wardrobe because the green bear was in the way, and while I was moving it out of the way, Wendy decided to invite herself over. Since I had already cleared out the path to the wardrobe, I changed my clothes, and Wendy immediately left. Why did you bother to come over then? Now that I think about it, that's basically what I do every time I invite myself into their homes. I talk to them once and then leave as well, so maybe I should stop complaining. Why should I get special treatment? I'm not the main character of this island. I took some time to contemplate my place in the universe, by which I mean did some inventory management. I finished off my 2 times miles tasks. Sparrow keeps giving me presents. It's nice of him, but I scoured the beach for more shells and recipes, and found one for a golden toilet. I have thought of the funniest possible use for this recipe, but I cannot share it with you all yet. Someday I will tell you, and I hope you will all think it's as funny as I do. Kid flagged me down to give me another Bunny Day recipe. He's really rooting for me to do all of the Bunny Day crafting before it's too late, huh? It's nice that he's so supportive. I visited the Nook Stop and remembered that sometimes they sell limited time items. I didn't actually want any of the prom stuff, but I am weak. If there's a time limit, I simply must purchase it. FOMO is my Achilles heel. Isabel announced that Rodney was packing to leave today. I'm not sure why, but this surprised me. I sort of thought he would be gone already. I guess I was just so enthused by the idea of Rodney being gone forever that I forgot how the game handles moving out villagers. I took care of my crops. A commenter on my last video suggested that I hit up Katrina first. This makes more sense than doing it last because the bonuses she grants can be very useful, but it wasn't a great first showing for her. She just predicted that I was going to take a really gnarly shit and charged me 10,000 bells for some Pepto. I went back to Black Jade so that I could finish up the rest of my daily tasks. Sparrow stopped me to show me his superhero pose. Sahara was on my island, so I bought a bunch of rugs and a mystery floor and wallpaper from her. The rock I destroyed yesterday decided to park it right in the middle of my white roses. I'm eventually going to smash this one because I do not care for where it decided to land, but I decided to leave it for now because I was feeling lazy. There was a bird on my bulletin board, so I went to check it out. Apparently Rocket's birthday is coming up. I guess I should do something about that, huh? I went to shop at the Able Sisters and I bought this tiny hat because it made me smile. I will be stapling this to the top of my head for the rest of the week, and am not accepting constructive criticism at this time, thank you. I ran to my house to make a few more adjustments to the spare room as well as doing some storage management. Bamboo spheres were the hot item, so I made a bunch to sell. And since one of my tasks was to customize items anyways, I checked out their customization options, and I really like this brown version. I might use that in my house at some point. I sold the bamboo spheres and made some purchases at Nook's Cranny, did my stretches. I found a lost item and investigation suggested it might be kids. I decided to put it on the back burner while I was searching for fossils, but I ran into him near his house, so it just made sense to give it to him right then. He gave me some sunglasses. I think I already had these, but I was just grateful it wasn't a shirt I can't wear. But then, while I was doing another lap searching for the last fossil because it was extremely well hidden, he flagged me down and randomly gave me a shirt I can't wear. I just cannot escape the shirts that I can't wear. I had finally managed to locate the last fossil, so I went to check them out with Blathers, and then went to go grab a coffee. My last 2 times miles task was to go diving for sea creatures, so I put on my wetsuit and into the ocean I went. I finished off the Miles task, but I decided to keep going until I found a scallop for Pascal. As always, he is a fountain of wisdom. Norma wanted to come hang out at my place, so I gave her the grand tour. While she was here, she gave me a wrestling uniform, which fills me with a visceral rage for reasons that I will not explain. She also judged my decorating choices and made this face at my Papa Bear. I started my day by watering my crops, and then I ran to the airport for my daily fortune reading. I bought some hydrangea starts from Leaf for Nook Miles purposes while I was in the area, and Katrina predicted that I would have good luck with money today, so that was a nice change. Once back on my island, I did some stretches. CJ is here, but ignore him, he isn't relevant yet. I broke this meddlesome rock. Since Rodney is officially gone, I decided to move the trees that I had planted to block his house from view. This area is larger than I thought it was, so I'm starting to formulate ideas of what I can do with it. A garbage can fell from the sky, so I put it next to Nook's cranny behind the bushes. It's a bit of a shorter jog from my house to this one than it is to the one by Rocket's house, but muscle memory will insist I visit Rocket's trash can more often than not. Clacker cards and frying pans were the hot items. I wasn't sure which was more valuable, so I made a few of each to sell separately to compare the prices. It looks like frying pans are a really good investment. 2 iron a piece isn't much of a material cost, and for some reason they sell for way too much money. While I was in there, I made my purchases and meandered over to the Able Sisters. I bought this clown nose. It seems fitting. I crafted myself a bunch of fishing poles for obvious reasons, and finally went over to deal with CJ. I decided that this time I would make a red snapper statue just to get it out of the way. While I was hunting for fish to sell, Patty flagged me down and wanted to sell me one of 4 items. I bought the triangle shades because they sounded like they might be funny, but alas, they were not at all what I was envisioning. Not only that, but I already had that exact pair in my storage, so that was a bummer. I checked my fossils and got some coffee, which finished off my 2 times tasks for the day. On my way out, Brewster gave me another present. Since it was Friday, I actually remembered to redecorate my living room. I decided that since I had bought all that prom stuff, I would go and make my living room into the saddest prom I've ever seen in my life. I say, as if I've seen one. I didn't bother going to mine. Since my storage was full again, I took the furniture from my previous living room and moved it to outside of the house formerly known as Rodney's house. Since I have this empty plot, I figured it was time to start a villager hunt for a replacement. I do have a specific group of villagers that I'm searching for. In order of how much I want them, they are Cranston, Roscoe, Chevra, Dom, Bones, Phoebe, Bianca, Meringue, Julian, and Ricky. With such a wide list of villagers I'm searching for, I feel like it would increase my chances of finding one that I actually want. I've purchased 10 full tickets to try and find one of them and began the hunt. My first island was an island type I hadn't seen before. The villager I found was Margie, and no thanks, I'm good. I made my way over to the island in the center and oh! This is one of those treasure islands! They are, sadly, forbidden in hard mode, so I had to leave, if my math is correct, 85,000 bells on the floor. On to the next island. Julia isn't so bad. She's actually pretty cute, but not one of the ones on my list, so I gave her a pass. While I was here, I fished up a zebra turkey fish, and I'm not going to lie to you, I had somehow forgotten that these are in the game, so I was a little freaked out when this thing came out of the water. On to the next island. I don't know who this villager is and didn't bother to talk to them. Next. Oh, okay, he's not on my list, but he's so cool. Look at this greaser koala. I couldn't not invite him. Sorry, Cranston. Maybe you can replace Rocket. While I was still on the mystery island, Wilbur applauded my fishing skills, which I thought was nice. Since all of my dailies were done and I finished off the 2 big things that I needed to do for the day, it was time for the fishing grind. I need to get as many bells out of CJ as humanly possible, while also working on the script and editing this video, so you know. I was going to make a joke about how you should take a shot every time I catch an egg instead of a fish, but don't do that. That would be incredibly irresponsible, not to mention dangerous. People care about you. Admiral had a flea that I caught for him, which bumped our friendship up enough that I can give him gifts now, and more importantly, stage a coup against the Pumpkin Keeper and take his land as my own. Off camera, I checked turnip prices, and they were up to 168 bells a turnip. I have a feeling that they're going to keep going up, but the thought that the market would crash tomorrow made me sell now while I know I'm making a profit. Rocket had a thought bubble. I was really hoping that she also wanted to leave, but alas, she just wanted to give me a lamp. Between CJ and my own savings, I managed to get within 6,000 bells of paying off my home loan. But I was so tired. I had been fishing for hours. But Katrina provides. 3,000 bells fell from the sky. All I needed was one last push and I could pay off my home loan and double my storage space. It was a grueling effort, but somehow I managed it. I got the rest of the bells that I needed. I paid off my loan and got the next upgrade started. 1 million bells is a pretty steep price, so I probably won't be getting my basement anytime soon, but a second story is pretty exciting. I started my day by cleaning up a little. Now that I have more storage, I figure it would be good to get the furniture and clothing off my lawn. I was pretty hesitant to move all of the crafting materials into my storage just because there's so much of it. I watered and harvested my crops. Eugene has moved in, so I went in to visit him. Not sure about the office building wallpaper he has. He's the one I would expect to have the diner-themed house. Honestly, Nintendo should just hire me to fix the room assignments. The fishing tournament started, but I wasn't ready to do that yet, so I ignored it and left the island to visit Katrina. I got a bad fortune, and because I didn't have 10,000 bells in my pockets, she just said good luck with that and sent me on my way. Frying pans were the hot item again, so I made 15 to sell for so much money. It was very exciting. I made some purchases, bought this tiara from the Able Sisters because it made me feel pretty. I checked my fossils and got some coffee, did my stretches, finished off my 2x miles tasks, and then it was time to participate in the fishing tournament. While I was fishing, I finally got the last stamp on my Castmaster card, which is just so fun. I wanted to see if anyone in the Discord wanted to come over to fish with me, and since it was weekend market day anyway, I figured I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone by opening one of those up as well. I started by crafting my golden toilet and hiding it amongst the mystery bags. Even I don't know which one it is. I also set up my new stock for the week, but I ended up not getting any bites in the Discord. Alas. Next week, perhaps. I decided to clean up the crafting materials after all. I'm just going mad with storage power. Since I have all of this extra space, it got me thinking about how I could change my island layout. I want to use this area for my museum, but to do that I need to move my house. And to move my own house I have to move Admiral's house, because his house is where I want to put my own house. I thought Admiral and Eugene would make good neighbors, so I cleared out some space for him. I broke this rock without smacking it first, and it turns out that it was the money rock. Absolutely tragic. Since tomorrow is Bunny Day, I decided to finally go ahead and make all of the Bunny Day furniture that I had recipes for. I don't know if I managed to find all of them, and I have no intention of looking it up. I threw all of this garbage upstairs and don't plan to think about it until I'm forced to by a Zipper T Bunny tomorrow. Because of the fishing tournament, KK Slider isn't here to play us out, so, Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, please press the button that tells me so. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss the next one, please consider subscribing. I hope to see you all next week.